All right, well, keep us posted. Thank you.
One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 8, 9, 10.
Promises made, but not always kept. Amid claims of improvement, Fox 45 News looks into Mayor Brandon Scott's record on crime and the struggle to prove success.
That we have a safer city, that's my hope, and a city that people are comfortable to live in.
And a new sheriff in town as Sam Cogan takes his post at City Hall, how he plans to bring change to a department seldom seen in the public eye.
And police find the culprits in a series of threats against Towson High School, where they're from, and how they tried to blame someone else.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News at 10.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Mackenzie Frost.
And I'm Vincent Hill. We begin with Baltimore's crime crisis as another weekend is off to a violent start.
Yeah, there were a pair of shootings overnight in Northeast Baltimore, resulting in Baltimore's 318th homicide this year. Police say a man was shot and killed along Albany Avenue just before midnight. About 4 hours later, a man was shot in the head along Rosalie Avenue after getting in a car crash. That man is in critical condition.
On Thursday, 4 people killed within 48 hours in one Baltimore neighborhood. Yet, despite this recent violence, Mayor Brandon Scott feels his crime plan is showing success.
But we looked at the numbers, and the data shows violence is not slowing down. One shooting, another, and another. The sound of gunfire followed by first responders fills the air in Baltimore City neighborhoods. Another day and another family, forever shaped by the choices made of those pulling the triggers. Despite the physical reminders of the violence almost daily, Mayor Brandon Scott and his administration has been saying the violence is improving.
Today, Baltimore is one homicide under last year.
Deputy Mayor for Public Safety Anthony Barksdale telling me at the end of September.
I base how I view things on the data, and that data says that we're going in the right direction.
Despite one fewer person killed in Baltimore than at the same time in 2021.
Of course, there's room for progress, so I'm not arguing with you on that point, but -1 is a start.
Fast forward to early December.
Homicides and shootings, while we are over 300, are down from last year as well.
Mayor Scott touting the city's work when there were 3 fewer homicides than the same time last year. Just a few days later, the city back up to seeing more people killed in 2022 than the previous year.
Leaders need to be a little bit more careful celebrating success when we really haven't had long-term success.
Political analyst John Dede says the mayor and other leaders need more data and proof their efforts are working before praising the plan. Not just a few days each month before the next tragedy happens.
You have to have constant situations where you have months of it going down.
The leaders claim to be data-driven, and the data shows 2022 is not any less violent than the last 8 years. And people in Baltimore are left to deal with that reality.
Man, I have not talked to anybody in this city that says they feel a little bit safer.
Despite politicians like Mayor Scott telling voters things would get better before capturing enough support from Baltimore voters to become mayor, Brandon Scott was clear about his plans.
I will aim to reduce homicides by 15% each year in my term, getting us below 300 homicides in my first year.
That didn't happen his first year in office or the second. Mayor Brandon Scott is also doubling down on his group violence reduction strategy, or GVRS. Right now, the strategy is operating in the Western Police District, but the city is expanding efforts into the Southwestern and Central districts beginning next year. The mayor says the Western District has seen a 33% drop in gun violence since the start of the pilot program.
While none of us up here are celebrating that violence is gone in Baltimore, we are talking about a significant step in the right direction of seeing violence be reduced at this level in our most violent district, but also that even as we stand here today, that homicides and shootings, while we are over 300, are down from last year as well, right? So that's the reality.
City leaders want to expand GVRS to all of Baltimore by mid-2024, but some are questioning the effectiveness of the plan. Homicides in the Northeastern District have more than doubled this year, and skeptics ask if crime has slowed or simply shifted.
Displacement is a real thing. Displacement is something that we do see when any type of enforcement or criminal justice strategy is employed in a particular area. We do tend to see increases elsewhere.
Former BPD Deputy Commissioner Jason Johnson says he expects crime numbers will improve when the new city state's attorney, Ivan Bates, takes office next month.
New tonight, 2 teens are being charged with making a series of threats against Towson High School. Baltimore County Police say one suspect is local while the other is from North Carolina. It's unclear if or how they know each other. The threats first emerged back in mid-November, causing many parents to pull their kids out of school, but police are now giving the all clear.
Monday, they should feel perfectly fine sending their children to school on Monday. We have found the 2 individuals involved, and during the investigation, it was determined there was no additional concerns or threat and danger to the school.
Police believe they used some sort of software to implicate a third person, but that third person was never connected to the crime. In a statement, County Executive Johnny Olszewski commended Baltimore County Police on their efforts, saying any threats of violence against the school is reprehensible. He says those threats won't be tolerated in Baltimore County.
And Baltimore County Police releasing these photos looking for a driver and his truck involved in a deadly crash September 1st in Timonium. Officers say the crash happened along West Seminary Avenue and Round Top Court. Anyone with information is asked to contact police. And Frederick County Police are investigating an incident in which a police officer fired his gun at someone. According to a report, the officer saw 2 people arguing before they both pulled guns on each other. Then one person tried to escape, at which point the officer shot at them. No one was hit, and police did make 1 arrest.
Maryland State Police have arrested the man you see here, Tremel Williams, in connection to a pair of deadly shootings in Cambridge, Dorchester County. The shootings happened just 3 hours apart Thursday night. Police say one was an attempted armed robbery. Police tracked Williams down and arrested him while he was trying to break into a car.
At noon tonight, D.C. Metro Police are releasing surveillance video from a deadly shooting inside a metro station earlier this week. The video shows people running from the scene, then an off-duty FBI agent and another person fighting. They then fall off a balcony nearly 8 feet onto the platform below. The FBI agent then shot and killed the other person, who police say instigated the fight. The agent suffered minor injuries.
It was a stunning election. New Baltimore City Sheriff Sam Cogan defeated John Anderson, who held that post for 3 decades now. Cogan is tasked with bringing change to an office many people know little about. In a story you'll see first on Fox, I sat down with Sheriff Cogan to discuss his plans for the office and Baltimore City.
I'm proud to be a part of Baltimore, and I want to see the city thrive.
It's more than a campaign slogan for the new sheriff of Baltimore City, Sam Cogan.
I love the city. I've lived here my whole adult life. I've lived here since I was 17 years old.
He's been with the sheriff's department since 1997. Now he's walking into the office and the chair of his former boss, wanting to change the image of his department.
I'm really looking forward for the people of Baltimore sort of rediscover the sheriff's office.
In order to do that, Sheriff Cogan said he's immediately begun making changes.
The first things that I did is I ordered all the deputies into uniform.
Cogan says that's all part of his plan for the citizens of Baltimore to know what his office does.
And so a sheriff is an independently elected peace officer who's like the conservator of the peace. They enforce writs and orders that come from the court.
But his office also has authority beyond civil disputes.
In fact, if you look at the public and local laws, it says the Baltimore City Police Department, police officers have the same authority as a deputy sheriff to make a criminal arrest, not the other way around.
Making arrests is something Cogan says will help the city of Baltimore and those who voted for him.
We're looking to see for the people of Baltimore to see the sheriff's office out there more, engaged in public safety. That we have a safer city, that's my hope, and a city that people are comfortable to live in.
Cogan said he remembers his days of being in uniform and will quickly get his deputies back to the basics.
I was on a warrant group here. I really like the idea of trying to do something about violent crime in the city.
But it's a mission and a vision Cogan knows he can't do alone. Tomorrow night in our 10 o'clock newscast, I'll have more from Sheriff Cogan about taking repeat offenders off the street, how he plans to restructure his department from the ground up, and who he's looking to for help.
All right, let's talk about the weather. But first, we have to welcome Vincent Hill. This is the first time we're all seeing you behind the desk. Thank you so much. Welcome.
No,
welcome
thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's definitely a change being here in Baltimore from Augusta, Georgia, where it's still a little warm in Augusta and a little dry, but Speaking of warm and dry.
That's going to change.
That's going to change, right?
It's going to change. I'm sure it's definitely warmer there. Here we've got temperatures in the 40s. It feels a lot like winter. And it's also going to be a little bit rainy tomorrow as we prepare for the next weather maker. That's a cold front that's headed our way. Now, as we start off, temperatures sit at 42. These numbers will continue to fall overnight. Skies are overcast, and notice the wind chill at 37. So if you are heading out early in the morning, you will want the layers. Across the state, temperatures are in the 30s and in the 40s. Those clouds will continue to move in overnight as we get ready for the next weather maker. That will lead to a few showers. So over the next several hours, we do stay mostly dry and cloudy, but close to sunrise, those showers start to move into the state, and they could impact your Sunday plans. In my full forecast, I'll break down the timing and when we finally dry out. Back to you.
We're asking the court for a do-over.
Heyman Lee's family pushes for another hearing in the Adnan Syed case, why they don't believe they had a fair shot at justice the first time around.
And new details on the stunning death of an American soccer journalist in Qatar, where police stand in the investigation as the world remembers Grant Wall's legacy.
And what we know from the research of legislative term limits in particular is that the people lined up to fill the seat are more likely to have been bought and paid for by wealthy and powerful interests, just like question K itself.
City Councilman Ryan Dorsey not holding back his frustrations over term limits at a city council meeting this week. He's pushing for a ballot question to repeal term limits for elected leaders, despite overwhelming support for question K. One political expert calling the move a slap in the face to voters.
You have a political leader saying, and we don't think you know better. We know better. We should, we should do something about this. And, basically what we should do is, let's pass something that totally, null and voids what voters said they wanted 2 years ago, and let's re-vote on it again. That's what he's really doing.
Councilman Isaac Yitzi Schleifer says he thinks term limits should stay and the council should respect the will of the voters.
The City Council tried to ease pension requirements for elected leaders shortly after question K was announced, but Mayor Brandon Scott, he vetoed that move.
Fox 45's Taylor Stewart shares why some faith leaders feel the raises were not warranted.
Critics at the city's pay hike for elected leaders say those pay increases should be based on results.
The comments that I hear is, why do they need a raise for? They're not doing their job. Whether that's true or not, that's their perception.
Bishop Angel Nunez says it's not the perception of voters that dictates the pay hike. It's a law dating back to 2007. The law says that all salaried city employees get a pay raise of 2.5% anytime a city employee union or group receives one.
It seems to be automatic already. So there's nothing really that the public can do. However, there's an issue of perception among the people. You know, the perception of the people in Baltimore is that they do not deserve a raise because of the violence, the murder, the dirty streets, the vacant properties.
And earlier this week, David Williams with the Taxpayer Protection Alliance made the case that the pay bump should be based on performance.
What needs to happen is that they should have to vote on this every year or every time there is a pay increase, so the voters know exactly who's voting for the pay increase and who isn't voting for it. That would provide more transparency and probably fewer pay raises.
But for now, the pay increase stands. The raises were scheduled to be discussed at the Board of Estimates meeting this past week. However, that talk was tabled until 2023, after those raises take effect. Taylor Stewart, Fox 45 News.
The family of Heyman Lee is demanding justice, saying prosecutors completely rushed the process to vacate charges against Adnan Syed. Syed spent more than 21 years in prison before finally being released this last October as the city state's attorney's office cited new DNA evidence clearing his name. Lee's family is now asking for a redo on the hearing that let Syed free, calling the first hearing a violation of victims' rights. They say Lee's brother was not given adequate time to arrive for the hearing in person.
My client has the right to attend, the right to reasonable notice, and the right to be heard in a meaningful manner. And the way that this hearing was done, none of that happened. If the Lee family sees the evidence and they understand the evidence and they present their viewpoints, and the court still rules the way it rules, you know, that's a done deal. But the issue is that the court has to give the victims a chance to give their informed position on, you know, on the case.
Fox 45 News reached out to City State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby, who fought for Syed's release, about the latest developments, but we did not hear back, and we're still waiting.
We're learning more about the shocking death of American journalist Grant Wahl at the FIFA World Cup in Qatar. He collapsed while covering the Netherlands-Argentina match. Kevin Yarskowski has an update on that investigation.
While fans in Qatar cheer on the final rounds of the 2022 World Cup, a tragedy on the sidelines for the American soccer community, with news of the sudden passing of U.S. soccer journalist Grant Wahl. Wahl was in Qatar covering his 8th World Cup. He sought treatment after feeling sick earlier this week, writing on his website, quote, "My body finally broke down on me. 3 weeks of little sleep, high stress, and lots of work can do that to you. I went into the medical clinic at the main media center today, and they said I probably have bronchitis." Authorities say he collapsed Friday while covering the match between Argentina and the Netherlands. His friends and colleagues deeply saddened by the loss.
For him to not be with us anymore at such a young age, that's an immense shock.
I always think back to me as a teenager and having Grant, in our building down at St. V. So it's a tragic loss.
Wahl wrote for Sports Illustrated for more than 2 decades before starting his own website. He was one of the most popular and influential journalists covering soccer and worked to increase the sport's popularity in America after the U.S. played host to the 1994 World Cup.
Soccer's had a very checkered history in the United States, but I think Grant really helped to establish it in the general sports public eye as, this is a serious sport.
An official cause of death has not been released. Wahl was just 48 years old. Kevin Uretsky, Fox News.
Wahl was stopped and briefly detained by authorities in Qatar a few weeks ago when he wore a rainbow shirt in support of LGBTQ rights to the first U.S. soccer match against Wales.
And lawyers for the man behind a plot to kidnap Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer say he doesn't deserve life in prison. Prosecutors argue Adam Fox deserves a life sentence for his role as a paramilitary leader. Fox and another man were convicted in August of conspiring to kidnap Governor Gretchen Whitmer and obtain a weapon of mass destruction. Fox is scheduled to be sentenced on December 27th. COVID warning signs in Maryland and across the country as we approach the holidays. Why it's not the only threat grabbing the attention of top health officials.
Ominous signs of a COVID comeback in Maryland as the state recorded at least 1,000 new cases on both Thursday and Friday. Data is not released on Saturday's test positivity rate is also up to over 10%, a more than 50% increase from the end of November. It's a nationwide concern as the flu and threats of a triple-demic are on the minds of health leaders. They blame Thanksgiving in part for the surge. Almost 26,000 Americans have been hospitalized with COVID in the past week alone.
We're all a little tired of this virus, but here's some good news. The good news is this virus does not have the same impact on our lives that it did 2 years ago or even what it did last year.
You can get the flu shot in one arm, the COVID shot in the other, and you're out. You're good to go.
This flu season, the CDC also estimates 13 million people have been sick and around 20,000 required to be in the hospital.
Amid ongoing flu and COVID fears, the FDA giving Pfizer a fast track to create a combination flu and COVID vaccine. The fast track speeds up development and a review of the drug needed to fight serious health threats. Pfizer says the first phase of this vaccine's trial is already underway.
We're keeping track of a few rain showers and even a couple of snow showers across parts of the state. I'll let you know when rain moves through the Baltimore area coming up in my full forecast.
Our top story at 10:30. A woman is charged with using a false identity to intimidate a potential witness in the Timothy Reynolds case.
Yeah, that woman now facing felony witness intimidation charges for impersonating a Metro Crime Stoppers employee.
A source tells me she's connected to the father of the Squeegee kid involved in the Timothy Reynolds case. The 15-year-old suspect facing first-degree murder charges for Tim Reynolds' death likely won't go to trial until next year. But in the meantime, these court documents obtained from the district courthouse outline what police say is how Tweeshay Tyler tried to intimidate a witness involved in the Reynolds case. The witness's name kept secret, but the court documents allege Tyler pretended to be someone from Metro Crime Stoppers, trying to reach the witness so the witness could get a reward money. When the witness hung up the phone, Tyler then used a fake number to text the witness. According to the court documents, Tyler then texted the witness saying, quote, "You didn't get no money," and wasn't left anonymous. "Didn't you learn the first time you got shot?" Police then found Tyler's home and the phone they say was used to make the calls and send the text message. Tyler was arrested and charged with felony witness intimidation on December 8th. Sources confirmed to FOX45 News Tyler is the girlfriend of the Squeegee kid suspect's dad. This photo on Tyler's public Facebook page from November 4th calls Tavon Scott Sr. her baby, wishing him a happy birthday. That's the same man seen here.
Yes, he's a good kid.
At a news conference with the defense attorney saying he's the Squeegee kid suspect's father.
Everybody make mistakes.
Witness intimidation is what accomplices and associates resort to when the defendant is in big trouble.
Through Vignaraja, the attorney representing the Reynolds family as the criminal case plays out, says the witness intimidation felony charge is another reason why he agrees that the case should stay in the adult court system.
The family is grateful to the detectives and the prosecutors that are working tirelessly to make sure that we do see justice in this case.
Tyler is facing 2 different witness intimidation charges since the witness involved is connected to a felony case. Now, I reached out to Warren Brown, who is the defense attorney for the Squeegee kid in this case, to ask if he knew anything about the latest development. But on Friday, he told me he hadn't heard about it yet. In the meantime, Tyler is scheduled for her preliminary hearing in January.
Reynolds' death led to the city forming a new plan to address Squeegee kids, set to take effect in January. Kids will receive education and work opportunities with chances to earn an hourly wage. They'll also be getting barred from squeegeeing in certain high-traffic areas. The plan is expected to cost around $5 million.
Pep Band celebrating the holiday season in style today with the Owings Mills Volunteer Company. The band performed at the fire company's annual Christmas tree sale in an effort to raise money for the department.
And have you ever wondered what Christmas looked like in the 1790s? Today's holidays at the Hampton event put on a display at the Hampton National Historic Site in Towson. The festivities included mansion tours, some caroling, and of course crafts, as well as a look back at life as an upper-class member of society during our country's formative years. And we want to remind you to send in your holiday pics. Send us your favorite festive images through the Chime In. Just head to foxbaltimore.com/chime in or use the free WBFF app.
And it is time, definitely time, to start thinking about holiday candy. And the candystore.com is ranking America's top treats. Non-traditional Christmas favorites like Kit Kats and Reese's are topping the charts. Reese's are the top choice here in Maryland and 7 other states. As for the classics, peppermint bark and candy canes are losing some support, and that makes me pretty upset because candy canes were and are still my favorite holiday candy.
Your favorite?
What about you?
Kit Kat.
Kit Kat.
That's
holiday. That's not a holiday treat, though. That's an everyday treat.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's Kit Kat. You can't go wrong with Kit Kat.
No, you can't go wrong, but you can get that any time of year. You can get, rock candy or a candy cane.
A candy cane.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, you could get candy canes.
If you keep them, then it's,
it's kind of nasty.
Chewy and stuck and not good for the dentist.
Yeah.
Right, speaking of the holidays, though, is it going to feel like, Christmas or wintry? When's the snow? What are we looking at, Jasmine?
Unfortunately, yeah, it is going to feel a lot like winter. We've got the temperatures below average in the 40s.
It's December.
And even in the 30s right now, but snow, not a big issue for us. We are seeing a couple of flurries, but shouldn't cause any hazards. This is just a little bit of light flurries outside, and it's mainly toward the state line. So here in Baltimore, we're nice and dry. Temperatures sit at 42. We're well above that freezing mark. The wind chill is in the 30s, so it feels a lot cooler. Here's a look on the HD radar. Notice that green transitioning into white. That indicates a couple of areas of snow that we're seeing toward Hagerstown and closer to the state line. Now, this is a little bit of light snow, and we don't expect any accumulation. Most of us will be dealing with rain tomorrow, so if there was any accumulation, of course, it would all go away. Across the state, temperatures are currently in the 30s and 40s, so really not seeing those numbers below freezing, cold enough for anything to stick. And overnight, we stay above freezing in the 30s and the 40s. We have cloudy skies, and that's going to keep our temperatures from dropping much farther from where they are now. And then as we make our way into the overnight hours, we stay cloudy. We could be waking up to a couple of stray showers. Rain chances will increase as we get closer to noon. Then by the early afternoon, the rain starts to depart from the state, and we stay mostly dry. We clear out as we head into Monday, and we'll have a mix of sunshine and clouds throughout the day. So a much nicer day ahead of us by Monday with just the slight chance for a stray shower. But it's tomorrow when you could have a little rain over your area. Make sure that you're keeping watch on the radar if you're planning on buying a Christmas tree or just being out. 35 for the low temperature overnight. We stay cloudy and cold, but above freezing, so no snow here. 48 for the high temperature tomorrow, and that is still below average for this time of year. We'll have a few scattered showers throughout the day, but it doesn't look to be a washout. Just make sure that you're keeping watch on the radar. By Monday, dry weather returns following a cold front. 46 for the high temperature. We stay around 46 again on Tuesday. We welcome in plenty of sunshine. Then the numbers drop a little bit as we head into the middle of the week. We also enter an unsettled pattern. 44 on Wednesday, and overnight temperatures do fall below freezing. There is the chance for a little bit of a rain-snow mix, but we'll have to watch for models to see if they continue to agree on that. Then by Thursday afternoon, 44 with rain on the way. We stay in the 40s on Friday, and then it gets even cooler, but we stay dry by Saturday. Back to you.
A thrilling ending in Philadelphia as Army and Navy went down to the wire. Rocco DeSangro has the full highlights and a look ahead to Ravens Steelers ahead on Sports Unlimited. Take a look at this. A stunning scene in California as a landslide forced a beach to close for several hours in the Los Angeles area. Thankfully, no injuries, but California officials say another landslide is possible with more heavy rain on the way for the West Coast this weekend.
Wow, that is some crazy video.
That was wild. Luckily, no one was injured. That could have been catastrophic.
Catastrophic for sure. I tell you what's catastrophic for me, these cold temperatures. I'm a Georgia boy. Jasmine, what's going on with this?
Yeah, you're in Maryland now. We get all 4 seasons, and that includes winter. Sometimes we get all 4 seasons, even in one day. Right now, we're dealing with the cold temperatures and even a few flurries, so it definitely is feeling like winter outside. Now, the flurries are mainly toward the state line, so around Hagerstown and even toward Westminster. However, we're not expecting any accumulation. We're really looking at rain tomorrow, and that's all ahead of a cold front. That's why we're seeing those snow showers right now. 40 as we head to around 8 a.m. We start with a few scattered showers, 43 around 11. Then by 2 p.m. those showers gradually start to taper. Temperatures will be in the mid to upper 40s, and that's going to keep us below our average for this time of year. Then by the evening and into the night, we stay nice and dry. And by Monday, we're looking at a dry start to the work week, but keep an eye out for the weather. By the middle of the week, there could be a little winter weather in the mix. Back to you.
All right, for the first time in 123 games, the Army-Navy rivalry was decided in OT. Which team came out on top in the city of brotherly love? I'll give you a hint. I used to wear one of those uniforms. That's coming up.
Finally tonight, Baltimoreans getting into the giving spirit today at Church of the Harbor in Curtis Bay.
Yeah, hundreds of families taking part in the church's annual toy drive put on by the Baltimore nonprofit Drink at the Well. More than 2,000 people donated toys, and the Well volunteers are working hard to match families with the perfect gift for their kids. Volunteers say they love seeing the joy on people's faces.
To watch volunteers come and want to engage in giving people a glimpse of hope in this season is so huge for me. It's encouraging to me, but I also love to be able to see community members come out and know that they are able to create these beautiful moments for their children.
People can get gifts that are worth $10 or more, and they only pay $2, and that is not for our profit. We run out and buy more gifts for our community.
For more information on the toy drive, contact The Well or visit foxbaltimore.com. That's all for Fox 45 News at 10. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Vincent Hill.
And I'm Mackenzie Frost. Now here's Rocco DeSangro with Sports Unlimited. Rocco, what's going on?
Yeah, Vincent McKenzie, it's one of college football's biggest traditions, but when Army and Navy meet on the gridiron, it's about much more than just the sport they're playing. Passion, pride, and bragging rights for the next 365 or so days. Let's get to it. The Mids and the Black Knights going head-to-head for the 123rd time. Philadelphia, PA, the city of brotherly love, the site for this one. Scoreless in the second. Navy would get on the board first. Bijan Nichols from 44 yards out. Money. Navy takes a 3-0 lead. Just over a minute to go in the first half. Midshipman on to punt, but it's blocked by Noah Short and recovered in the end zone by Jabril Williams. Heck of an effort for him to stay in bounds. Army makes it a 7-3 game. Second half now. Navy back on 0. Anton Hall Jr. You know what he can do. See you later. 77-yard house call, and Navy is going to regain the lead just like that. And it would stay that way until the fourth. That's when this happened. Under 2 minutes left in the fourth. Quinn Moretsky ties it with a 37-yard field goal, and for the first time ever, this rivalry would head to OT. In overtime, Army would score first, Navy would answer. McQuell Haywood from Xavier R line. Navy ties the game. Let's go to a second OT. Third and goal for the Mids. Chance to take the lead. Anton Hall Jr. on the give. He's already got a score in the game. Fumbles at the 1. Army recovers. Black Knights can win it with a field goal. And that's exactly what they would do. Moretsky from 39 puts it away. Army wins in double OT, 20-17, the final score. Heck of a football game. So let's go from one rivalry to another. Reinforcements are on the way as the Ravens get set for Sunday's tilt with the Steelers. Baltimore has activated running back J.K. Dobbins off injured reserve. Dobbins was placed on IR in late October after having arthroscopic knee surgery. The last 2 weeks, Dobbins has been out on the practice field working his way back. Sunday could potentially mark the first time that Dobbins and Gus Edwards are active together since January 16th, 2021. For a Ravens offense that'll likely be without Lamar Jackson, getting J.K. back is huge.
Yeah, I mean, J.K.'s looking good, and I really think that time off and what he was able to take care of is going to make a big impact on his effectiveness. He's really excited about being back. We're excited about having him back, and then, let's roll the ball out there and play some ball. So excited to have him back.
So the Ravens announced that move with this move. It was like a package deal. It only gets better. Field Yates of ESPN reported first that the Ravens were activating safety Marcus Williams from injured reserve. The team tweeted it out. Williams dislocated his wrist in a game against the Bengals. He's been out ever since. Despite only playing in 5 games, get this, he's tied for 10th in the entire league with 3 interceptions. That's fantastic stuff. With Lamar Jackson doubtful for Sunday's game against Pittsburgh, according to Jeff Zrebiec of The Athletic, the Ravens have elevated rookie quarterback Anthony Brown and defensive back Ardarius Washington from the practice squad. Brown will likely back up Tyler Huntley against the Steelers. Kickoff between the two AFC North foes. That's scheduled for 1 p.m. Two of Charm City's own going head-to-head on the hardwood. UMBC playing host to Morgan State in basketball. Bears down 13. Isaiah Burke with the blow-by. Cuts it to 11, but UMBC would pull away. The Retrievers love to shoot. Jacob Bunyasith letting it fly. He had 15 on the night. UMBC goes on to win 75-63 the final. UMBC women's basketball in search of a win as well. Retrievers locked in with Mount St. Mary's. UMBC down 1 with 2 minutes to go. Lacey Drake with the steal. Finishes with the reverse lay-in. But Mount St. Mary's would regain the lead. Up 2 with 30 seconds to go. Michaela Harrison knocks down the shot. UMBC falls in this one. 63-57 the final. Loyola taking on the Mount St. Mary's men. Both teams 4-6 on the year. Second half, Greyhounds trailing by 12. Chris Kazemka spots up and dials in from distance, cuts the lead to single digits. But Mount St. Mary's too much in this one. Jetty Cordelia, jumper. That falls. Loyola falls to the Mountaineers, 51-34, the final score. Loyola women's basketball taking on Hofstra. This one will go to OT. You know the saying, free throws win basketball games. Case in point here. Greyhounds down 1 in OT. Talia Dixon fouled with 3.9 seconds left. She goes to the line, hits the first to tie it. Second one, ice in her veins, gives them the lead. 21 points for her as Loyola wins 62-61 in overtime. Towson women's basketball on the road against Howard. Tigers looking to snap a 2-game skid, down 3 in the third. Kylie Cornegie-Lucas buries the triple to knot the game at 49. Tigers with a 1-point lead in the fourth. Quinzia Fulmore goes to work in the post. That's too easy for her. Towson goes on to get the win, 68-58, the final score. How about some World Cup quarterfinal action? Cristiano Ronaldo in Portugal taking on Morocco. How about this? Off the cross, Youssef En-Nesyri gets up there, heads it into the back of the net. Morocco takes a 1-0 lead, and Morocco is moving on to the semis with the 1-0 victory. Morocco would get the winner of this one. France taking on England in the other quarterfinal. France with a 1-goal lead. Harry Kane with the equalizer off the PK to tie it. 78th minute, Antoine Griezmann bends it in the box. Olivier Giroud heads it home. France is moving on with the 2-1 victory. Still ahead on Sports Unlimited, the Ravens will look to snap a 4-game losing streak to the Steelers. Players share their thoughts on the AFC North rivalry coming up next. When the Steelers and Ravens square off, the hits seem harder. That's because they are. The intensity seems like it's on another level. That's because it is. And the football, it's so fun to watch. Here's what the Ravens, what they're saying ahead of Sunday's showdown in Steel City.
It's big time, man. You know, I've been in a couple of rivalries myself throughout the course of my career, but this one I think sticks out way more. You know, obviously it's in division. You know, anytime you can win in the division and separate yourself from the rest of the group, man, to get a win, it's that much bigger. It's like a playoff game. Anytime you're in a division, man, it's worth 2.
I think it's just two teams that really know each other, that played a lot of ball against each other over the last, 15 plus years, so play each other twice a year. And then I feel like both teams go out and get tough players, gritty players, and when those two teams clash on the field, that's what the result is, that you see a tough, hard-fought game all the time.
C.J. Stroud, Max Duggan, Stetson Bennett, and Caleb Williams were the 4 Heisman finalists, but only one would be bringing that trophy home, and it's Caleb Williams. You see him right there, winning the Heisman Trophy, the USC quarterback. He becomes the first DMV native to win the award. That is awesome stuff. That's it for this edition of Sports Unlimited. I'm Rocco DeSangro. Thanks for watching. Have a great night.